Yeah, hi, Deb. I've just promoted you to panelist.
I got hot. You can close it now. I'm okay. Ron, can you hear me?
Yes, Deb, I can hear you.
Okay.
I'm going to keep myself muted as much as I can because I also went ahead and started the YouTube live stream to make sure it was going to working fine.
Okay. You can't. Can you see me? I hope not.
No.
Good. That's how we wanted it. Okay.
Yes, I can hear you. Can't see you, which is perfect. Okay.
I was hoping. Yes. Okay.
No, Deb, we cannot see you. I have something else on the screen right now. However, just remember this whole thing is being recorded on YouTube now.
That's great.
I'm going to talk to this other person that just showed up in the attendees just to say hello for a minute.
Sure.
Yeah, hi there. There's someone on a phone number ending in 0024. Just want to say hello. My name's Ron. Welcome to the webinar tonight. We're just still getting set up.
Am I supposed to hear something?
You want me to sing?
Yes. Please.
No.
Phyllis, is that you with the phone number 0024?
Correct.
Okay, thanks. Okay. No, so at this stage hopefully when this is all done, I'm going to edit the sound out of the first part here so that they don't hear us getting set up, the general public. But we'll see. I'm going to say hello to Lee right now. Hey, Lee.
Hi, how you doing?
Just fine. So we're getting set up. Thanks for being here nice and early. And you're all set up as a panelist.
Okay.
So for you guys' information, so the YouTube is running. So about 30 seconds behind what I'm saying right now, it'll show up on YouTube.
I'll mute myself for the time being.
Yeah, go. Everybody should go ahead and mute except me right now. And so right now we're waiting for our other two panelists to show up and our moderator. And then and for another 12 minutes to go by, then we'll go live. Hey, Phyllis, I think that's you. That's making, sounds like a breathing noise or something. I'm going to mute you right now to check.
Hey, Ron.
Howdy, Mike. Welcome aboard. So we're just getting everything set up here. YouTube is running, about 30 seconds delay behind the meeting here. It looks like we're all doing good. We're just waiting for Dan now and then more guests to show up. Yeah. Okay, Mary, why don't you test your audio? Then once that works, go ahead and turn off your video and mute your audio, but first check.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you a little weak. You may need to talk a little louder.
Okay, is this better?
Yep, that works. Okay, great. That's good.
Okay. How are you,
Good.
Dave?
I was
Okay.
hard to hear. Did Mary say hello?
Oh. Yes, Mary did say hello.
Hi, Mary. Doing fine. It's going to be a challenge trying to either you look at the screen, you look at the camera, you look bobbleheads.
Okay, for those that are showing up here, we're just getting ready. We're waiting for Dan to our third member of our panelists to show up here. We'll get him in. Whoops, I think I might see him. So
Can you hear me
Dan-
now, Ron?
Yes, sir. Gotcha now. Thanks, Dan.
We're on mute. I'm
Okay,
trying to find out where we're
Okay,
at.
gotcha. Okay, so the last person we're waiting for is our moderator to show up.
People aren't used to seeing their glasses.
So, and for everybody else on live, we are live streaming this on YouTube, and everything is going to YouTube now. And I'll edit it once we're done to take off this early stuff.
I'm still not showing up on this.
It's not.
I have a mic on here, but I don't. What would this be?
Yeah, it's on. It hasn't started. That's who's all on there, but I don't.
All right. Well, as long as I can talk.
Yeah. Yeah.
I can walk.
Looks like he's done. Nice clothes. So somber. Blurry. No, I see it on there.
He's on there, but it hasn't shown me. It showed everybody else.
Has it showed everyone else?
But you're not.
I don't.
I don't think you see yourself.
I don't think you're supposed
He
to see
should.
yourself.
Yeah, I think he is. He should see himself there too.
Because everything was working fine when we did this.
I know.
The camera's working.
Oh. Didn't kick everything off, did it?
What do you think? Is it gonna work?
I don't know.
Again, welcome everyone to our first candidates forum. We'll be starting in just a couple of minutes. In the meantime, this is going on to YouTube, live streaming. So anything that's said is going to get to YouTube.
I turned it off, but his is on. No, he's fine. He's not messing with this.
Hello, Stephanie.
Does it show pictures of me now? Yeah. Damn.
Ask if you're supposed to be able to see a picture of yourself on that.
What now?
Ask him if you're supposed to be able to see a picture of yourself on that.
You're supposed to see everyone.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Hey, Ron, can you hear them?
Mike, I can hear, I'm trying to figure out who that is to stop him. Looks like it's either either
I think it's
Deb's
Dan.
house. I think it's Dan, yeah.
What?
He doesn't have a phone number. It doesn't show up as a phone number or his name or anything.
Really? Oh, he's showing
Yeah, I
up
don't
as
see
Dan.
anything.
Look under panelists, he's showing up.
I'm not.
Well, I'm not seeing my picture on this.
I'm not seeing his picture. Hold on, here it comes.
Nobody should
Resize.
be
There's
seeing the
Dan.
picture, actually.
It's at least it says his box now. Before I didn't see anything. Now he's got a box.
Okay.
Hey guys,
Hi, Steph.
how are you?
Doing well.
Good.
Hi. No video from Dan.
No video.
Yeah, Dan, we're not seeing your video.
Okay, we're looking at it.
Always. Oh, it says stop video. Yeah, what's this up here? Video settings. Select camera. My video. Mirror effect, yes. Huh? It says you want the mirror, enable a mirror effect, yes. That's what you just took it off. Everything's been fine. You see it now?
Is there anything there now?
Dan, all we see is a blank screen so far still.
Well, we might just have to go with that. I don't
Go
know.
with participants, so. There's Dan, me, okay.
He's got the camera on.
No, that's them. Invite? No. There's none. The host has asked you to start your video. Start video.
There you
That's
go.
it. There you are, Dan.
Got it?
Yep.
Well, I don't see anything.
No.
There's no picture on there.
Hey, Stephanie, 7 o'clock when you're ready.
Okay, are we ready? All right.
Yep.
I'm gonna close my door so I don't get extra noise.
You should have a picture of everyone on there.
I don't, so don't worry about it.
Take my mask off. Okay, are we ready? Okay.
Yep.
Welcome everyone. Can everybody hear me okay?
Yes.
Yes.
All right.
Yeah.
Thank you for joining us tonight. This is the first of what we hope to be several forums of interest to Wahkiakum County residents and beyond over the course of the 2020 election cycle. We are sponsored by the Wahkiakum County Republican Party and the Wahkiakum County Democratic Party, working together for the good of our county. This event is also live streamed on YouTube. I'm Stephanie Lights. I'm the principal at Wahkiakum High School and the mother of 4, sometimes 5 and 6 kids, depending on who's at my house. And I will be your moderator for tonight's County Commissioner Candidate Forum. Our panelists tonight are Mike Backman, incumbent, with Lee Tischer, his challenger, and Dan Cothran, incumbent, but his challenger, Tim Lawler, could not be present. All right, are you guys ready for the rules?
Ready.
Okay, all right. All the questions were submitted ahead of time in response to the request in the Eagle. There will be no questions taken from the audience tonight. I will ask a question, then each candidate will have 2 minutes and only 2 minutes to respond. With 15 seconds remaining, our timer will give you a signal. Please wrap up your thoughts And then at the end of the 15 seconds, she will say time's up. I don't really like to cut people off. So when she says time's up, please make sure you wrap up your thoughts. If a candidate has time remaining in their 2 minutes, they can continue speaking if they like, or we can move on to the next person, but you may not bank your time for later, okay? No banking. I will rotate the order in which you respond to questions. All right, are you ready to get started? Any questions before we go?
No,
All right, the beginning is easy. Tell us in 2 minutes about yourself and why you are running. Mike, do you want to start?
Hi, thanks. So is this where we give our speech, or is this where you just want to know who I am in background? Because I have my
This is your
platform.
only opportunity. 2 minutes to tell us
Okay.
about yourself and why you're running.
Okay. Well, thank you for attending the live Wahkiakum County Commissioner Zoom debate. I am grateful for this opportunity that you have bestowed upon me by letting me serve you for the last 2 terms. I'm working hard to serve Wahkiakum County. Here's my platform. 1, working well as a board. I see myself as a coalition builder. I do my best to be approachable and to encourage people to be involved in the process of local government while trying to hear them. And I'm a straight shooter. Moving on, I work well means that it's okay for us to disagree on issues and to have good debates, and then keep it professional and never personal when we make a decision. 2, I see our best chance to achieving our goals as serving Wahkiakum is by working together as one community as we fight for fair share of state resources. It is hard to deny us when we work together. I mean no disrespect to any individuals that have served our community in the past or present. We are working from love of community, and our goal is to get stronger. I take great pride in being available and encouraging people to speak their part and take part of this system. Lastly, as a county board, we have had several groups come in and commend us on our ability to work together. And as a coalition builder, it is a working process. Please feel free to check with the other entities and how they feel the communication and cooperation level has changed in the last few years. I give credit to all. I believe I'm the biggest cheerleader of the working together movement, but it is not my accomplishment alone. I am an active part of this community as a Grays River Grange member, Alliance member, and the Sons of Norway. I do my best to work for this county in and out of the government role. As a straight shooter, you know where I am,
15 seconds.
if I'm with you or not, but I have the ability to adapt when needs arise. The Catholic Community Center wanted the current expense dollars, and I opposed it. But
Time's up.
I did volunteer at the community center, and when the chance came, I found resources outside and moved to bring in resources from outside. And
All right,
so as
thank
my
you.
history is, I'm a 3rd generation commercial fisherman.
So
and
Mike, your
lived here all
time
my
is
life.
up. Thank you though for sharing that. And then we'll come back to you for the next question. So Lee, you now have 2 minutes to tell us about yourself and why you're running.
hello, everyone. I'm Lee Tischer. I'm a lifetime resident of Wahkiakum County, married to Diane for 47 long years. Just kidding, Diane. We have 2 grown daughters and 3 grandchildren. I'm currently serving as a Port 2 commissioner on the Law and Justice Council, the Civil Service Board, the Chamber of Commerce, on the Broadband Committee, and a founding board member of Wahkiakum Dollars for Scholars. In the past, I served 16 years on the Wahkiakum School Board, 6 years as a Puget Island Fire Commissioner, on the Marine Resources Committee, spent 28 years with the Puget Island Volunteer Fire Department. The last 20 years, I've been fundraising for Nacelle and Wahkiakum High School scholarships. We started with a Sturgeon Derby. I then created the Rods and Reels Car Show, which raised over $200,000 for Wahkiakum High School student scholarships. During my time on the school board, I served as a legislative rep, working with our representatives in Olympia. I was also selected to help negotiate the sale of a partial of school property for the new sewer plant for Willamette. I have also negotiated wage and benefit contracts for management and union employees. During my time on the school board, was during the Great Recession in '08, and we had to be really creative with the school budget not to impact the quality of education for the students. We will now be facing a state budget shortfall due to the coronavirus pandemic, and we will need to be creative again with
15 seconds.
budget. I've attended many seminars and conferences through the years and have learned a lot of being an effective board member. No moss has grown under my feet, and I feel I have more to give as your county commissioner.
Time's up.
Thank you, Lee. Our last one, Dan.
Yeah, I've lived in Wahkiakum County all my life. Was in the timber industry, still am in the timber industry, and also being a county commissioner. A few things that I've got done being a county commissioner is I got 2 timber bills through the legislature to help the county financially, to help our revenue, and also help into the future with the encumbered lands group that I'm working with to be able to purchase other timberlands to add to our timberlands so our revenue can stay, status quo, and being able to move into the future with revenue that the county is going to need to get into the future and the times coming in the future. This year, with the virus, it's kind of set everything back. Now we have to get something done with the legislature with its encumbered land, which has slowed us down because of this virus, to go with a project of $28.5 million to be able to purchase these timberlands, and also put $6 million trying to get into the budget, the capital budget, to support Pacific and Wahkiakum and Skamania counties to get them by until we get this project done. This has been a huge task. I've been after this for so long. It just seems like, time's running out, but government is slow. And I'm going to need an additional 4 years to get this done and, to be able to, this county to survive in the future. Also working on erosion issues, Puget Island, Cape Horn, making sure that those folks get sand and be able to save their property. And basically making sure that we stay rural and being self-independent financially. So that's kind of it in a nutshell. Thank you.
Thank you, Dan.
Time's up.
That leads us into the next question. What do you consider your primary responsibility as commissioner? Lee, will you start on that one?
Sure. The Board of County Commissioners serve as the legislative body of the county. The board creates and approves and oversees the annual budget. They oversee departments such as public health, technology, county road department, public works, county fairgrounds, Johnson Park, and other county buildings. The other elected officials are responsible for their officers. Commissioners also serve on numerous boards and commissions as required by law or for the benefit of Wahkiakum County residents.
Okay, thank you. Dan?
Yeah, Lee pretty well covered it. But yeah, the legislative body, we control the budget, which a lot of times that is very hard to balance. And it's you got to think out of the box a lot of times. So yeah, that and the road department, the health department, and all the other different committees and groups that we're on. So it has really built up since I started. You're more than just going to a commissioner meeting. You're going to meetings all the time. And when you look at the hours that we put in, it's huge. So yeah.
Thank you, Dan. Mike, do you have anything to add?
Yeah, I'm also the face of the government. I'm the leadership that reaches out to the other entities to be able to work together, to be able to find resources and be able to help strategically figure out where we want to go and how we want to serve our community. That's what I want to add to what they both said.
Okay, thank you. So our third question, what barriers are there that get in the way of you doing the job as you see it? And Dan, we're going to have you start on that one.
Making sure that, you're following the rules. Sometimes I've got to go down and talk to the prosecutor because there's ways that I'd like to do things, but you're restricted, to do those things. So it makes it very, very tough to, get where you need to be, because, government is, the bureaucracy it's huge, and you run into those roadblocks all the time. Dealing with the unions and different things, I guess you learn as you go. So it's kind of it.
Okay. Mike, do you have anything you want to add?
Yeah, it's one of the biggest things that makes it tough is all the regulations and all the money. It's more about the money. We don't mind doing things right. It's just the fact that they throw all the money on there so that we can't afford to fix our own culverts, or we have to go, we have to keep applying for grants and spending energy that could be going forward, doing work, doing studies to see about doing work, and always looking for chasing a dollar. That's the biggest thing that makes this work hard to do.
Lee, do you have anything?
I would say one size fits all regulations, that what looks like in King County definitely does not look the same in Wahkiakum County. And another big obstacle I can see is unfunded mandates. There seems to be more of those all the time coming down the pike, and they put more pressure on the counties to come up with the monies to meet their needs. That's all I have.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so the next question, number 4, Mike, it's your turn to start. How does the job description for county commissioner compare with what actually needs to be done?
That's a weird one. Because we're the face, we do the budget. Well, we're doing the job. So I don't understand. I guess I don't understand the question because I'm doing the job. And so the description of the job is you're going to be the face of the government, and you're going to pass those ordinances, or lack of passing ordinances in better case, and represent the people. So I guess that's the way I see it. I think we're doing the job.
Nice. Okay. Lee?
Could you run that question by again? It was a little confusing.
So you just talked about the job description. How does the job description for county commissioner compare to what actually really needs to get done?
Well, I think making a lot of tough decisions that may not be in favor of your neighbors, and just having to stick to your guns and do what's best for the whole. That's one big obstacle I can see through my years working on various boards. You have to make tough decisions and go with them for the benefit of the majority.
Dan, do you have anything you want to add?
Yeah, you got to make unpopular decisions, and I think a lot just having some common sense. Those are, the huge factor. Dealing with budget shortfalls. Through all the time I've been a commissioner, we've had some real budget shortfalls. So we have to think out of the box. There's things that we did that we got through and were able to balance the budget. So yeah, this job entails probably a little bit more a lot of times. And we don't have an administrator here in Wahkiakum County to administrate and help us, get through where other counties, they have that. We have to do this on our own. We have to come up to that and make that decision on our own selves, not by having somebody that maybe has a research done with that decision, but we don't have that. We have to make that decision on our own.
Okay. All right. So our next question deals with the sheriff's office. How supportive are you with the sheriff's office enforcing state and county laws and policies? Explain with an example, please. And Lee, you are first this time.
Well, I'm very pro police department. I serve on the Law and Justice Council and deal with them directly a lot. I've actually been asked recently to join the Citizens Committee to investigate police-involved shootings. So an example of our local police and what's so great about them was an incident that happened a while back where a weapon was drawn and our police force stepped back and let the thing simmer down and didn't take quick action like you see a lot on the news. So they're more community oriented than a lot, and it's very appreciated. So I'm very supportive of the police department and how they handle situations locally.
Okay, thank you, Lee. And Dan would be next.
Yeah, when all the demonstrations came down here in the last few weeks, I talked to Mark Howie about being invited to one of his group sessions with these deputies, and I went in and told them that the commission had their backs and that we highly supported them. And I can't say enough for Mark Howie. I think Mark Howie, he has some common sense, and he's always looking ahead and communicating. And communication is the huge issue. If you don't communicate, nothing gets done. So you have to communicate. So anyway, I think we got a lot of young deputies now, new guys that are on, and with things that are going down, I think they need the public support. I think the people of Wahkiakum County need to give a call, or when you see them, thank them for what they're doing, because they got one heck of a job. It's not for everybody, and it takes a unique person to be a deputy and to want to be somebody in the police department. So I've got to commend all these guys. They do a great job, but I think the key thing is they communicate.
Thank you, Dan.
Mm-hmm.
Mike, what about you? Are you in support?
Yes, I am. I also believe that Howie's doing a great job and that we have a good force. I think we're all blessed to live in this community. I think that they're happy to be here when they see this mess that's going everywhere else. And just as lucky as our citizens are to have them, they're as lucky to have those citizens. And I support him and the team, and I wish him the best of luck going forward. This is crazy times.
Okay, thank you. So the next question is, many calls to the sheriff's office are complaints about excessive noise, barking dogs, livestock on the roads. Do we need ordinances for this? Why or why not? And this question starts with you, Dan.
Well, I think, we don't have open range and we are rural, and, we have a lot of new folks that have moved here and probably not used to some of the things. I mean, a person builds a fence, cattle go through, knock the fences down, the cattle get out on the road. So I think the people need to understand that we are a rural community, and, livestock does get out. I've ran into some growing up, and, but that was more of an open range. But right now, everything is basically, it's closed. But you got to work with your neighbors. And I think that, yeah, it's just, some people just maybe overreact a little bit. I think it's good to call in to let, make sure that the cattle get off the road. I know I've had to put cattle back in on a Locoman. So that's just the way of life that it is here in Wahkiakum County.
Okay, thanks, Dan.
And I don't think you need an ordinance for that.
Okay. Mike?
I agree with Dan. I don't believe you need an ordinance. I think that we live in a rural area and we like our property rights, and we want to take it. We'd like to work with our neighbors, and we'd like to try to settle it through working together instead of making a rule to appease one small group. We'd rather do the work of actually talking to the people and trying to understand where the problem is and addressing it that way.
Okay. Thanks. Lee?
Yeah, if there's already ordinances on the books in regards to loud dogs, and I think, eventually they do have to be enforced. But, neighbors usually can talk it out, but I don't believe in over-regulating. We are rural, like Dan says. I've chased cows too on our way to a wedding once, and I looked down at my slacks and oh boy, I had green on them. So anyway, I do agree. We don't need ordinances for everything, but we have to be good neighbors to one another.
Okay. So the next question, what kind of power, if any, does the county have to force the Corps of Engineers to do beach nourishment before placing dredge material inland? And this one starts with you, Mike.
So you're talking about on the island here, you're gonna cross that dike? Is that what you're talking about? Or are you talking in general?
Well, I think in general, the question is, but you can use
Alright.
specific examples.
So if you're gonna go across the dike, then you gotta go across the road. So then the county owns top of the road. So then we could not if we wanted to, we could stop them from crossing the road. But they could go underneath that dike and go around us if they so chose. But our biggest tool is working with our congressmen and our senators to working the political on the backside, working with those people to work with the Corps to let them know where we're at and that we need help. Jamie Herrera and Maria Cantwell have both worked hard to help us when we needed sand and on our beaches. So that would be your recommendation, was to use your political will to go forward and partner with your congressional people.
Okay, thank you. Lee?
Yes, I think a coalition of what Mike said, plus letters of support from everyone in the community, those that are affected by the beach erosion, and working with Olympia and on up. There's a lot of hoops to jump through, as Dan can attest to get to the end result. And it's usually very time consuming. So you have to stay on top of it and stay focused on the task at hand.
Okay, thanks, Lee. Dan, do you have anything you'd like to add?
Well, I've worked with the Corps for quite a while, and there's been some good times and there's been some bad times. And with the Corps right now, we've had some good folks working, and I think we're trying to, communicate and working together on doing some different things to make sure that the folks on the island, is going to get that beach nourishment. And I think that the folks that are there now are more responsive to that issue. There's a lot of restrictions, there's a lot of costs, and those costs have been huge. I know this last deal with Cape Horn was very tough. We got down and we just seemed like we run after roadblock after roadblock. And now we had $200-some thousand into these projects. Well, the goal is to make sure that these are disposal sites, that these flood control zones. So working with the upriver ports and be able to do that, and their voice has been huge, was persuading the Corps to put these as designated sites. So with that, there won't be the cost into the future if that happens, for us to be able to sponsor these sponsor these beach nourishment projects. So it's huge. The communication's been good. It's not always easy. I got to commend our public works person, working with this too. Him and I both go to the meetings and strive to make sure that, we get what we want. It's not easy. The thing that Mike had brought up about, upland disposal, we're still working with that, with those, on that issue.
Okay, thanks, Dan. All right, our next question is for you, Lee, to start us off with, can you explain how the county is funded and what restrictions the various funds have?
The county is funded by force board monies, property taxes, criminal justice funds, and other miscellaneous funds. Cumulative funds are restricted by resolution and can only be used as mandated. So that's pretty much it in a nutshell.
Okay. Dan, do you have anything you want to add to that?
Lee's right. Timber funds are huge. This does about 30% of the county's budget. Criminal justice, we do get that money that, helps with criminal justice issues, but we also use it for other things too, to balance the budget. So I got to commend our past commissioners that found the reserve funds that they did, and been able to tap into those funds, county properties and those different things. And each one of them has a designated, what you can use that money for. So it's you got to be, like I say, you got to think out of the box and be able to do a lot of this stuff. So yeah.
Okay. Mike, what about you? Would you like to add something?
Yeah, we're able to take some road shift money. We usually, when it gets close to the time, we'll shift a little bit of road money. We do like over like about 200 grand usually comes over, and that's able to go into current expense. And then we do the same, like we said, with those others. And we usually try to get the offset. Dan works really hard to get us that when they give us in lieu of, for when they don't pay us for the timber, then they owe us money, and they give us, we get money every couple of years. We get $1 million that we can then add in once in a while that we add. So.
Okay. All right. Thanks to all of you. All right. Our next question is kind of along those same lines, but related to cannabis, or that marijuana money, as I call it sometimes. So what is the revenue from cannabis in our county, and what programs is it used to support? And that would be starting with you, Dan.
Yeah, my favorite subject. Well, last time I checked with our treasurer, and I haven't been watching it that close. I think there was $10,000 in revenue. I think it's kicked up now. As many people I see stopping at the shop, but those funds are going into the health department, different programs that they have to pay for different things. I guess my worry is, is it going to the right thing? I think I see a big issue with the kids with this. That's my biggest concern. I mean, I had kids that were on it, and I had to deal with that. And until you have to deal with it, you really don't know. And that has been my biggest issue, is I've had to deal with it, and it was not fun. And today it's still not fun with some of those kids that are graduating and they can't get off of it.
Yeah. It's a struggle, that's for sure. Mike, what about you?
Well, there's a community network, and then they work with the school, and we do campaigns to try to keep kids from using marijuana and smoking and vaping and other things. And that marijuana money marches in for other things, and we get a lot more back than what our tax revenue from that is, because they take that money from across the state, and we get that funds pretty much a 3/4 of an employee, plus an assistant. There's 2 different grants, there's 2 different ones, and they do lock boxes, and so we have quite a bit of help coming back from it.
Yeah.
And resources into the community from that thing.
From that money, yeah. Okay, yeah. Lee, do you have anything you want to add?
Yeah, Dan and Mike pretty much covered it all, but yeah, I think the money coming back is going to the right agencies to educate the children to that it's only legal for those that are 21 and older. So
yeah, we've been able to do some really great things with some of that money around team building and leadership building and supporting kids. So yeah. All right, the next question related to that is, what agencies or programs should we use the cannabis revenue to support? So in your opinion. And I think this time it is Mike that starts.
I would support more with the school and leadership, abilities, maybe making it more flexible so it can be more about leadership and making good decisions instead of just saying don't do marijuana, don't do alcohol, but have a more positive motion moving forward, a little more freer with that money for more leadership style, more growth, personal growth. Because I believe when you're going this way, it's harder to go that way. Hard to go out, when when you get them on the right path to go forward. But that would be what I'd like to see. I'd like to see the money go to the same place, just a little more freer, a little more ability to use it.
Okay, Lee?
Yeah, I agree with Mike. I think the money should be allowed to be used in different agencies with each county in mind, because each county can be so different with the problems that they have with the revenue and the local populace.
Yeah. Okay. And Dan, anything you want to add?
Yeah, I think drug rehab, maybe some money funneled into the sheriff's department, to counter some of this stuff. And I totally agree with what Mike and Leah said. So yeah, that's all in line with that.
Okay.
And families.
Right. So our next question is going to Lee first, and it's which takes precedent, economic development or maintaining our rural legacy?
Boy, that's a tough one. We want
Gotta
both.
have a few hard ones in here. We need to see you thinking.
We want both. We love our rural life.
Safe answer, huh?
But the need to improve our infrastructure, especially with broadband, we can introduce some small businesses into the area that would still keep our rural lifestyle, but still bring in more tax revenue for us locally and help our local businesses.
Okay. All right, Dan?
I would say economic developments, like Lee said, I'd probably go with that, and the rural setting probably second. But yeah, the revenue that you could get off broadband and people being able to have their own businesses here, out of their own properties, I think that's huge, and I think that'll would definitely help, to be able to do that.
Okay. All right, and Mike?
Yeah, it's the economic development that leaves you whole. So the idea is to reach out with the broadband, go vertical with the farm products that we already have, so that you're doing businesses that people are already accustomed to. Instead of bringing in a mill or something that doesn't fit the area, you try to find things that you can bring in that fit the atmosphere of the place we already live, and try to be mindful of the people who live here as we try to grow. But we need to be able to keep our youth, and that means we have to have jobs here. We have to have something for them to come back to. We want them to go off and blossom and then be able to come back if they so choose.
Okay, thank you. All right, our next question is, let's see, what can be done to help the PUD bring fiber optic internet to the rest of the county? And let's see, we are starting this time with you, Dan.
Well, grants. I think that's really the only thing. I think we have a big cost already, what that's going to cost. It's in the millions. So yeah, it's just, we have to go after grants. And that's like everything that we do in our small community. We have to partner with people. We have to go after grants, or we don't get it. I mean, we don't have the revenue to be able to do that. So grants would be the number one thing.
Mike?
So what we're doing is, I'm working right now. I meet on Fridays at 2 p.m. every Friday, and we have the local entities all come together. And we're also reaching out to District 19, which is Pacific and Cowlitz, and bringing them together to talk about how we can bring it to the whole area, so that when we can reduce some of that stress of how we build it as we partner in, to be able to apply for grants, to work with our state legislators to try to get them to fund that internet as a basic right down here. So that's, yeah, we have to go for grants, but we also have to leverage our teamwork of working together more. It's got to be more about working together and getting people in the right spots to be able to help with letters, and it's harder to deny you when you're unified.
Okay. All right, Lee?
Yeah, I agree. The last meeting we had with the PUD the other night, the top end of the project looks like about $10 million and in grants, and to our match would probably be close to 500,000. So I would think that all our local agencies, the ports, town, county, everybody could pitch in and make this work. It would be huge for our county to get this in place. So I think if we all work together and make it happen.
Is it a priority for you guys?
A top priority.
Yeah.
Yes.
For you? Yeah, both of you? Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Let's see. This one, so tell us something about commissioners' duties that the general public does not know. And this would be you, Mike. You're starting.
That we can't talk to each other besides for Tuesday, which makes things cumbersome. Because we can't just say, what did you mean about that? You have to wait the whole week before you can get back. They don't know that. They probably don't know how time consuming it is. I mean, it's a great job. It's a wonderful job, but it's a lot more than what it looks like. When they hear you talk for 10 minutes and think, oh, that job, that's a piece of cake. Sometimes you gotta look at somebody right in the eye and why they're giving you hell, trying to figure out how to reach out and figure out what's hurting them to reach back. And that takes a lot of patience and love to be able to do that. I think the people don't realize what it takes to be able to take. You go out here, we're local. Everybody knows who you are. You go eat at a restaurant and you're going to hear whatever it is. And I don't think people realize the level of that.
Lee?
Yeah, I would agree. The level of the hours, I guess you would say, put in, and the concentration that has to be had to get the job done right, and to be able to travel at will to sleep on the front steps of the Capitol in Olympia if you have to fight for Wahkiakum County. It's very, from what I've witnessed, it's very time consuming, and to do the job right, you have to be willing to put in that time. And like I said earlier, make the tough decisions that may not be in favor of the minority, but you're doing it for the majority. So,
yeah. Dan, something we don't know.
Well, the negotiation part, you're up. I'm up in Olympia quite a bit. Before all this stuff happened, negotiating encumbered lands, you got to go to the legislature, you have to testify. You come up there and you got to explain to the legislative folks. They might read it, sometimes they don't read it, but you got to self-explain that when you go in. If you're going after a bill, going after money for the county, and the time commitment to that it's huge. You have to learn a lot. I know a lot about revenue stuff, like with timber and stuff like that. That's my background, but you got to be able to persuade your legislative folks to piggyback on with that, and making sure that that you have that. And it's quite an experience to go up there, and but they do know us. That's what's been really neat about Wahkiakum County. You scream loud, they know you, and that's what's happened. And they do know us, and when we go up there, they know who our Wahkiakum County is, and we got to make sure that continues. And the legislative interaction, I think we have a good rapport with our legislative folks on both sides of the aisle, and I think we put our points across to them on what the needs are, and I think they were real receptive to that.
Yeah. Okay. So I missed one of the cannabis questions that I should probably go back to. So this cannabis question says, help us as the general public understand how we as a county, on one hand, accept revenue from cannabis sales, yet we also support programs to prevent youth from using it. So Lee, you start us off for this one.
Well, the cannabis law is statewide, and as a county, there's, we don't have much say in that. And we definitely want to keep the youth away from it. With alcohol too, you have to be 21 to use it. So it's a big push to educate the children to know that even though it's legal, it may not be the right thing for you.
Yeah. Dan, do you want to add to that?
Well, the state gets most of the revenue off this stuff. They, even when it comes to the county, if somebody wanted to sell marijuana, started their own business, basically we get overridden by the liquor board. So, there's very little that we could do. So that's, yeah. Law enforcement, family teaching, values, all of that.
Yeah. Mike, how about you?
Well, the law is 21. The brain is not fully developed till like 25. So the more work we do to show them that, to give them good examples and to get them not to do it, the better chance we have of not hurting, of having that damage to them. And so it's very appropriate that you let the adults make adult decisions and you help the youth be able to make those decisions with all the knowledge available to them.
Yeah. Okay. So the next question is, Dan, we've touched on this a little bit, but could you in more detail explain the budget process and how you as a commissioner are involved in that process?
Well, we usually start in October, and we have the department heads, elected officials, bring out what their requests are for the budget. We look over that, and they come up and they discuss that with us, what the needs are, and to make sure that they can provide the services for that budget for their office. So we look over that, and then we look at our main budget and where we're at, and how much we're going to have to borrow. It's quite a process. It usually goes on for over a week, and then we have hearings and stuff on it. But it's probably the worst time of being a commissioner is working on the budgets. You got to make sure you have the money and where you're going to get the money. Hopefully we can get enough timber revenue to balance that. This year is going to be very tough. I think Mike spoke on, we're going to have to tap into the road fund. I mean, that's a given. I hate going into the road fund because we have some big issues, with stuff with the roads, Altoona areas. This county's sliding all the time. So we're going to need some money for those. And we need to be able to take that money and match it with something else to get where we need for the county. So it's a very tough one. We have some reserve funds. And also, we have to show a deficit at the end of the year. So anyway, we're always borrowing money, and it's basically a paper chase. It's not how you run your budget, out of your checkbook. It's totally different. I mean, it can be mind-boggling. It took me a few years to get to understand it, and how current expense works, and then money that's filtered into the county through grants and different funding through the health department, criminal justice money you get from the state, and the current expense, the one that you got to really watch, and making sure that we can balance that. So it's quite a process.
Okay, Mike, do you have anything you want to add?
Yeah, I agree with Dan. It's the hardest part of the job because you got to tell people they have really good ideas that they can't fund something. Sometimes you can't do things, you can't buy things that they need. And we have to figure out how to think outside the box to make things happen, to be able to accommodate the needs. And we do try to maximize our money by grants, by chasing dollars. That frustration of them adding costs and then us chasing around trying to get the money to be able to do the work. But yeah, Dan had it laid out about right, besides for the fact that we have to maximize grants as much as possible.
Lee?
Yeah, I agree with Dan and Mike. It's quite a process. I sat through the budget hearings the last couple of years, and it's quite eye-opening. And it's always, and with the dealing with the budgets on the school board for all those years, things are great when the revenue's there, but when the revenue's not and you have to make cuts, you really do have to think out of the box
Yeah.
to do the least amount of damage to either the school district or to the county services that everybody's are used to having. So it's tough. But it's a big part of the job.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. So what can we do as citizens of Wahkiakum County to support you in doing your job?
Ooh.
And Mike, you would be the one to start that one.
The biggest thing they can do is write their legislators. When we have things come up and if they get a letter from me or they hear me, but when they get it from the voters and they get it from numbers of voters, and the biggest thing is don't just follow some form letter. You got to have a little personal. If it's a personal letter, then it gets counted as a personal instead of just I hit a button and then get the thing. But that's the biggest thing they can do is just be active. Be there, ask those hard questions, hold us accountable, hold them accountable, and just know what's going on by being part of the thing. That's the best thing you could do.
See?
Yeah, I agree with Mike. The community has to be active and not only write letters, but call. Take the time to make a quick phone call. And that goes a long ways also. But the voice of many can be heard, and usually there will be action from the voice of many.
Dan?
Well, I think the number one thing is the party lines working across, for Republican and the Democrat working together, being able to accomplish things. It's all for the betterment of the community. And I guess too, as being a commissioner, the folks don't need to take a lot of these things personal. We're trying to run the county. We're trying to do it the best that we can. And just remember, we don't have an administrator there that's helping us through on a lot of these different issues. We have to read those things. We have to read it and try to understand it. And that's why we're, out in the public's eye, you get your input back to us. I appreciate calls, and I get quite a few calls, and I do appreciate that. Because that's people, they're wanting to know what's going on. And a lot of times they don't get it out of the paper. They need to get it from the horse's mouth. And I'm available anytime.
Okay. All right. So our last kind of couple questions as we wrap it up are, is there anything that we should have asked you, but we didn't? Lee?
Oh, I think we covered quite a bit tonight. That's a different question, I guess, to be asked, but I guess some of my work history, I owned a small business, trucking business for years. So I know the struggles of owning a small business. Worked with the road department, so I know the funding needs to keep our roads up to par. And I would also say, well, I don't know. I guess we pretty much covered everything that I can think off the top of my head anyway. So I'll leave it with that.
Okay. Thanks, Lee. Dan?
Well, I guess, and I think I stated it before, we still need to keep our rural values. That's the reason I live here. And this community has done well for me, and I love this community, and I want it to stay the way it is right now, rural. And I've told people, and I've told a lot of folks that in higher places, that's our goal, and that's my goal, is staying rural. We need to be able to do that. You see what's going on around us, and I don't think you can live in a better place than Wahkiakum County.
Okay. All right. Mike?
Needless to say, I agree with Dan. We live in the greatest county in the state. Blessed to be from here. A little more, could have been a little more about where we'd like to go, what our 4-year plan is. What would you like to have done? What could you do? What would be your next step? How do you want to partner? What's your look for growth that you'd like to be working on? Would have been a question you might have asked. You know, like what's your 4-year, what does it look like going out? You asked a lot of good questions. I think you covered most of it besides for what was your 4-year, what do you hope to accomplish would have been nice.
So the next question, what do you hope to accomplish if elected?
There you go.
Dan,
Almost like we're
you're
a team,
first.
huh? So you want me to go first?
No, Dan, it's Dan's turn to go first. What do you hope to
Okay.
accomplish, Dan?
All right. My goal is to get this encumbered lands bill in there. I think this is going to be the salvation for the county. Right now, with the timber revenue and the land base, we don't have a big enough land base here. We need to increase that land base to be able to, keep our revenues up there by having the extra revenue from those lands. We can we don't have to stay stagnant and borrow and to do different things. I think we need to be able to, well, that way we could be able to control our own destiny. And I've been at this for quite a while on this. It just seems like government moves so slow. We did, like I said, we did get 2 timber bills done. That's definitely helped us, and it will continue to help us get to where we need to be. But we need to get the legislator to buy in to this pilot project that we got going right now. The governor has said that the economic part, well, I play this as an economic part. He said he would support the economic part of this new budget things for the capital budget. So I would say that, this encumbered lands bill, it's 28 million. It's a lot of money, but we're going in every year and asking for 6 for the 3 counties. But this is a pilot project that could get them out of that. And that way we can control our own destiny. So that is probably the number one thing for the county, is to get that done. And I'm going to need 1 or 2 more years to fulfill that obligation to where I can walk away from this and feel that I've accomplished what I needed to accomplish for the county.
Thanks, Dan. Mike, what about you?
I want to work together to be building coalitions to get the broadband here, to get our strategic plan for how we're going to develop what we're going to do here. If it's parks, what to find out what this community wants to be, and be able to try to get the steps in place to be able to get to those goals. And the way to do that is through the extensive planning and getting the people to work together and communicate, and opening it up to the public and making sure that their voice is heard.
Okay, thanks, Mike. Lee, what do you hope to accomplish?
Work more closely with all our junior districts and all our great volunteers that we have. That makes Wahkiakum tick. Another thing too is to follow through on projects. The milfoil problem on the island's been ongoing for quite a while. We just have to follow through and fight for the revenue to support our projects. So I will definitely be a voice in Olympia for Wahkiakum.
All right, so your last question, we'll start with you, Mike. 3 words that tell us why we should vote for you or how you will support us. So 3 words, why should we vote for you?
Work ethic, care, and straightforward.
Nice. Lee?
A problem solver, a team player, and proven leadership.
Nice. Dan?
Loyal to the community, diligent worker.
Okay. All right. I think that was a little more than 3. No. All
Whatever
right. Or it was 2. I'm not sure which.
Oh.
Yeah. All right. No, thank you guys. We appreciate your time. We appreciate you being willing to experiment and do this on Zoom. We appreciate your thoughts. I I'd like to also just take a minute and thank the Wahkiakum County Democratic and Republican parties for being willing to host this. We had, it looks like almost 40 people that were willing to come and participate and watch. We appreciate all the behind the scenes work from the committee that produced this, which was Mary Vick, Deb Lincoln, Phyllis Weezy, and Ron Wright. The YouTube recording will stay online until the primary election is over. And this same ID number and YouTube channel will be used for any future forums. Watch the Eagle for announcements. And then just everybody needs to remember to vote. Stay safe and have a good night. Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you.
So we'll shut down the Zoom in about a minute and a half. Everybody in here.
All right, are we good, Ron?
Oh, man, Stephanie, thank you. Yep,
Okay, sounds
are good.
good. Thanks,
Thanks.
Ron.
thank you.
How to turn that? Hang on.